What would America look like if it was Christian? What would be different? What would a Christian Hollywood look like? Would the main new movie be called Eternals, where these God figures are the most powerful beings on the world? Or the hot new TV series is called Squid Game, where these people are so poor and in debt, dedicate their lives to this game, and if they lose, they're killed. What would a Christian Wall Street look like? Where compassion, humility, righteousness. What would a Christian White House look like? See, we got to realize that America is not a new thing. The goals of America, its founding principles, they're not unique. Liberty, individual rights, strong military, equality of men, these concepts are not new. American exceptionalism is just a rebranding of old ideas. America was not the founder of a democracy. America was not the first republic. Long before 1776, and in fact, almost 2,500 years before, in a little area of Italy, towns began to get together and say, we need to have our own rights. So these colonies began to form a republic, the Roman Republic. One of the first things they realized that for us to have voted positions and a political force that was run by the citizens, they had to have freedom. So they rose up against their king. We can't have non-representation in Greece. We got to govern ourselves. So, hundreds of years they fought against the Greek Empire, and before long, the Roman Empire, the Republic, was formed, where everybody was voted. People came together and rose up in the local town councils and had school boards. And one of their founding principles and ideals was called Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. Augustus Caesar was the Caesar at the time of Christ, codified these principles on almost every public building, statue, wall, gate entrance, anywhere. He wanted people to realize what the peace of Rome was all about. He had to remind people and say, guys, you have to realize this is how peace comes to earth, through Pax Romana. He had to say, this is how the golden age of peace will be. There's 4 things at the foundation of Pax Romana. The first one is piety. Second is war. Third is victory. And then the fourth is peace. You must have piety, or just men. You have to have just men to go fight a just war. And if you have just men fighting a just war, you can have victory. And if you have victory, then you can have peace. All peace is achieved by destroying your enemies. How can you have peace when the barbarians are pillaging your towns? How can you have peace with illegal immigrants flooding your borders? How can you have peace when your political enemies are not allowing you to govern as you see fit? But how do you get just men? Is it hard to fight it's very hard to fight a just war without just men. So the Republic of Rome passed laws. And Augustus led the charge in a couple key laws. The first one was a law on marriage. You can't have just men if men are marrying men and not married to one wife. Passed the law. Must marry one wife and raise up kids. They raised motherhood to the pinnacle of what a woman should be doing and staying home and nurturing just men. Outlawed adultery. You're caught in adultery, penalties are extreme. If you have to have just men, create laws. Murder became taboo. How can you kill a just man? Penalty is death. So Augustus, the time of Christ, created laws to create the highest moral standards for sexuality, marital laws, social and religious laws. But Rome had a flaw. See, Rome believed that if they could just elect the right officials, they would have a moral nation. If they could just appoint the right judges and get the right leaders, they could pass laws that could force people to live just lives. And they did. Imagine being able to pass laws that would end adultery. Have the right politicians that would end the killing of babies simply due to inconvenience. End murder, make it a capital offense. Raise the status of motherhood. Imagine a republic would finally get rid of evil. And Rome did. And the golden era of peace began. Caesar Augustus did it. Caesar Augustus finally outlawed evil. Oh, my clicker's not working right now. But at the time of Augustus, there we go, went too far. There was an inscription in Priena that talks about something, and it says, Caesar by his appearance, surpassing all previous leaders or benefactors, and not even leaving to posterity any hope of surpassing what he has done. And since the birthday of the god, Augustus was the beginning of the gospel of the world. But something else happened. Almost to the year, Mark writes it this way: the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. What happens when you have the golden era of peace in Rome, where evil is outlawed, and the kingdom of Christ? Conflict. What does it look like to bring the kingdom of peace with the king of peace into that culture? Do the messengers of this new gospel of peace of Christ, do they do outreach through rallies? Do they preach that the Roman government is corrupt and push to elect different officials? Do these new leaders of the church with this new kingdom gospel hold vigils for their political leaders? Do they pray that certain Roman leaders would come to power? Does it form religious coalitions to raise funds and run advertising? Does it shout profanities at the Caesar and hold up "Let's go Caesar" signs? Does it pray that laws would be passed to end corruption and evil? Does this conflicting gospel try to change the culture through the roles and process of the kingdom, or is it different?